Now, I think it's time that we talk about the Joker. That movie, the new movie just called Joker. I haven't spoken about this movie yet, but I will say that I definitely think it has incredible potential. The trailers, they look great, and it seems 110% believable, right? This is definitely something that I'm interested in seeing, and now I've seen some reviews, and it's being painted as some horrendous feature film. Needless to say that this film, if it isn't on your bucket list already, is now a must-see. An Australian article on the website Women basically tries to draw a fine line, but essentially goes on to condemn the film, right? The title says it all. Let's read here. It says, "Why Joker is being called a toxic rallying cry for incels." And then it goes on to say, it's also being criticized as the most disturbing comic book film ever made. Honestly, it's like they're trying to stay away from some sort of bias, but it's right there in the title. This is gonna be fun. Let's begin with the article. The Joker has been interpreted multiple times over the last 50 plus years, and we know that this has been happening. It's been going on. You can read the rest of this. I'm not going to go through that section. It just goes through the incarnations of the Joker in film. But let's talk about the movie. Let's move on here. Todd Phillips is the first director to take the character and devote an entire film to his origin story in Joker. And if the early reviews are to be believed, comic book films will never be the same again. The film, having premiered at the Venice Film Festival over the weekend, has already inspired millions, probably billions, of words to be written about it. Starring Joaquin Phoenix in the titular role, the film tells the story of Arthur Fleck, a clown for hire and aspiring stand-up comedian who still lives with his ailing mother and resents the fact that the world won't pay him as much attention as he believes he deserves. Sound familiar? Now, yeah, that sounds like an origin story. Is this some sort of an issue? He's having to deal with some pretty horrible stuff. Is it wrong that we're supposed to feel some sort of an emotion for the titular character of the film about him? I don't understand what this article. What are you trying to say, Courtney? And yes, Courtney, you're the one who wrote the article. What are you trying to say? I get it, right? She's trying to make it sound like every shooter here is annoyed because the world isn't paying them enough attention. But don't skew this, right? We know that this is a film about a villain. People will take from this what they want, right? It's a movie about a bad guy. Anyways, let's continue. The critics are divided on the topic of Phoenix's performance, with some lauding him for a career best turn and others claiming that he actually acts too hard in order to be able to take the film as seriously as it wants to be taken. But while they disagree about the quality of his performance, but while they disagree about the quality of his performance, what they are almost unanimous in is their assertion that the film is confusing in figuring out whether it's satire or propaganda of white men who, feeling rejected by the world, turn to violence and hatred as the answer to those problems. According to the early reviews, the film walks a thin line that could be potentially harmful if received in the wrong way. I disagree with this. It doesn't seem to handle the themes with the necessary caution it needs in order to avoid glorifying incels and their sometimes violent behavior. Firstly, let's just start with, it doesn't seem to handle the themes with the necessary caution it needs. No, it's a movie, okay? The whole thing is based in a fictional reality. It does not need to have any caution. There is no requirement for that in this movie. Otherwise, are we going to stop making horror movies and things like that because we need the necessary caution not to make people want to be psychopathic? It doesn't make sense. This whole section of this article is ridiculous, and this is where I begin to have problems, right? You're now essentially going to blame a film for actually trying to dissect how people come to certain conclusions because you feel that it's glorifying mass murderers and killers and the like, right? You feel that way. Let me be very clear about this too. The film should be perceived as a film. If you're going to take a movie about a known villain, let me make that very, very clear, that we all know that the Joker is the bad guy in the Batman universe. And anyone who's trying to claim that he's the good guy, I know that there are theories about the Dark Knight movie, but I don't care. We are very well aware that the Joker is the villain in the film. So if you're trying to take a movie about the villain and essentially the greatest villain in the Batman universe, by the way, and you're going to use this movie about him that delves into the psychopathic psyche as a way to say that it's glorifying incels, then you have some serious, severe, some sort of a psychological disorder yourself, okay? Even if it were in some way, shape, or form, you're supposed to like the main character, okay? You're supposed to develop a sense of compassion for the main character. You're pretty much supposed to love the main character. That's the whole point. You identify somehow with the main character. So yes, humanizing the Joker is essential for a film that's all about, oh, I don't know, the Joker? And if you're receiving the film in the wrong way, you're looking for a reason to receive the film in that way, okay? You don't need to be prompted or nudged to find a reason to receive this film as adoration for something that you might be thinking about doing. If you want to receive this the wrong way, then you're watching the film to receive accolades and the feeling that who you are and what you might be planning to do is okay. Just so we're all very clear, by the way, it's not okay if you're planning to do anything that's crazy or psychopathic. And using the villain of any film as a way to give yourself the acceptance to do something horrible is quite honestly beyond foolish. The real problem, though, it comes from people like you, Courtney. You've written this article, if you're wondering, and others like you that have written articles that are just like this, that condemn this whole thing. The ones who worry before worry is necessary. The ones who plant ideas in people's heads and then go, oh, see, we told you that they were going to do this because of that movie. But the truth is, you probably gave them the reason. You're the one who planted this idea in their head and then allowed them to use a movie like this for the purposes that you're claiming that they're going to use the movie for. People might not even be thinking the way that you think, okay? So that says something about this, firstly, until you tell them what to think. I wonder, like, if anyone actually thinks about this conundrum that we've gotten ourselves into. And don't get me wrong, by the way, I'm sure that there are a fraction of people who might already think this way. I guarantee you there has to be people out there that think about movies like this in this way. But when you promote ideas like this and you put them all over the media and people are going to read this in the thousands and hundreds of thousands, maybe even the millions, you increase the possibility that they will be used as reasoning in order to do truly horrible things. This is your, Courtney, I'll put this blame right here at your head and at anybody else's who's written stuff about this article that goes into this psychological aspect of the film and tries to glorify incels. You have made this movie about that because that's what you see when you go and see the movie. So what does that tell me about you and your problems when you go and watch a film? Now let me just take this back as well, by the way. I'm just going to say this. I was planning on going through a few other comments that the article cites, but I think it's ridiculous. Going by the logic of this article, I could use a couple other movies. So if you want to check out the entire article and see what they've said, you've seen the title. I'll put the title up right now again for you so that you can see what the article is called. You can go read the rest of this. I'm not going to go through it. I think this is just pathetic. Honestly, going by the logic that they've used in this article, you could use the original X-Men movie, the original one, right? Where Magneto, it could be the idol of you because that's the villain of the movie, but he could be your idol and you can use him in order to justify mass murder or physical abuse or even acts of terrorism. If you don't understand that, then go and watch the movie, right? If you don't think that you can do that, check out the movie again for what it is and what Magneto was actually trying to do to achieve, yeah? That's what you can be doing. So basically your logic goes back to movies like that. It's ridiculous, it's stupid, and it's childish. And this is your fault. People like you put ideas like this into people's heads. So don't even try and start to blame the movie. This is completely your fault. Anyways, guys, that is all from me. So if you did enjoy this one, just a bit of a short one today, if you haven't already, hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe as well if you like this video or this aspect of an idea. And I hope I didn't ramble on too much for you guys. Otherwise, check out some other content on the channel. If you don't like, if you did enjoy this, my bad, then you might enjoy that one. And as usual, guys, go outside, spread some peace, spread some love, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.